Well, I've got myself down onto the rocks and I've got an absolutely fantastic late autumn afternoon. It's absolutely beautiful. There's not a cloud in the sky and it's really warm. Fantastic. So I'm going to have a bit of fun for this session. It's about three and a half hours before high water. Going to fish up to around about high water this evening. Just have a bit of fun and see if I can pick up a few garfish. Now, garfish, I know is not everyone's cup of tea, but I actually enjoy eating garfish, so I like to, when I know they're around, to try and pick a few up for the table. And I do know garfish are around because I've been doing a bit of spinning lately, and you know when the garfish are around because you can feel them just pecking at the spinner, because garfish like to feed by going in and then stunning their bait first. Let's say like sand eel, they stun it, and then that gives them time to maneuver the bait into their mouth, because they've got that long sort of awkward beak, and it takes them a bit of while to get it into their mouth. So I'm going to float fish for them. Great fun, relaxing way of catching them. I've got the depth on the float set to about 5 feet. Anything from about, let's say, 2 to 5 feet to 6 feet is perfect for garfish because they like to feed on the surface. Got a small hook, little size 6 hook, so they got a chance of getting that into their mouth. Small bait, little bit of mackerel strip taken off the belly section of a mackerel, only about 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches long. So hopefully we'll have a bit of fun and see if I can pick up 1 or 2 garfish. Now, you don't need to cast out too far for garfish. That's only about, I suppose, about 40 yards out. And the tide current will work from my right to my left against the flow of the swell. And yeah, we're in. And we've got one. What? Now, whether you like garfish or not, they do offer some fantastic sport. Occasionally you'll get a jump from them, and float fishing for them is a great way of catching them. Well, that's good. Got our first garfish. Hopefully I'll be able to catch some more. But just going back to how garfish feed, it's quite interesting actually if you understand how they feed. It helps you to set up to be able to catch them. Now, they've got this long, thin beak. So what garfish do when they're, say, hunting, let's say they're hunting sand eels or they're hunting little sprats or other small fish, they'll go in and they'll hit the bait and they'll stun it. They'll stun it so that they got a chance then of picking up the bait and then manoeuvring it back via this beak into the mouth, which is right back here. So this explains why when let's say you're spinning for mackerel and you feel that bump, you keep feeling a bump, but you can't hook anything. What that probably is a garfish is coming along, he's hitting the spinner his natural way and trying to stun it, and therefore you'll continue to wind your spinner. And yeah, of course we know we do catch them on the spinner, but so many times when you're spinning that you miss them. With float fishing, what I like to do, because of the nature of the way they feed, is fish very small baits, only about 1.25 inches at the most, and small hooks. Fish a small hook, so again they've got a chance to get that bait via this beak area into the hooking area. Very difficult to hook a garfish in this area. You've got to get at least to this area, but the mouth is actually down, is way down here. But yeah, I mean, I've done a video about garfish before, and a video about cooking them before, and I find them absolutely delicious to eat, and I love to harvest a few when I know there's a few around. apart from that, it's great fun. Yeah, they got these green scales and the green bones that put some people off, but if you never tried them before, I can promise you that they are definitely worth eating if you like eating fish. Well, that's good. That's garfish number 2. And on that bite, because they feed so close to the surface, the float actually went flat on the surface, which is a common bite indicator with garfish, where they pick up the bait. I'm fishing about 5 foot deep. They picked up the little bit of mackerel and then brought it up towards the surface and then run along the surface. Yep, float's gone flat on the surface, so I think we are in. We are. Well, I knew there was plenty of garfish around, as I said, from doing a bit of spinning and feeling them pecking at the spinner, trying to stun it like they would do a sand eel. Now, of course, spinning is a fun way of getting them, but it's harder to catch them spinning. I found your success rate is much less than float fishing purely because of that fact that we talked about. The way they feed, the stunning of their prey, and then being able to maneuver it into the mouth. Well, if you've got a metal spinner, a little spinner, 10-gram spinner or something going along, you draw it, you feel that that peck. The garfish is expecting that spinner to stop so it can pick it up. So yeah, okay, you can try pausing, but then of course the spinner is going to drop down quickly. Sometimes they'll go down and chase it. But yeah, it's just that it's harder to hook them even when using small spinners. Now you can float spin for them. So what you do if it's gone a bit quiet or there's not a lot of movement in the water, because they get stimulated by movement, they're turned on by chasing. Where I'm fishing here, I've got a strong current, so I've got plenty of movement with the tide, and we've got another bite there. But what you can do is cast it out and leave it if you don't get any bite. When you reel it in to say rebait up, is just reel it in slowly, your bit of bait, until you feel the peck of the garfish trying to stun it, and then what you do is you just leave it then and give the garfish a chance to get that bait in its mouth, and you can often catch them that way, and you can often stimulate them into taking the bait. Now, as always, when I go fishing, I'm going to take them. I like to put them out of the misery. Now, it's with garfish, just the priest, bang, back of the head like that, and that's it. Well, I missed that one. That was the float was scooting along the surface, but it obviously hadn't got the bait in its mouth properly, so we didn't get it. But we have now. Right, what I try and do now is demonstrate the float spinning way of catching garfish. I haven't had to do it today because I've got a lot of movement, but what you do, cast it out, and then if you very, very slowly reel it in, like I'm doing now, very slowly, so you get that little bit of bait moving until you feel the knock of the garfish where it's come in and hit the bait. Then what you do is you stop, and then to give the garfish a chance to get the bait into its mouth, like there. So I've had a knock, and then with a bit of luck it'll have it in its mouth and take it. Like that. Yeah, so it's a way of stimulating them to take the bait. They love to chase. Right, what I'm going to do now, I've had half a dozen garfish. That's enough for now, and they're going to be made good use of. But I can always come back another day. They'll be around here right through to end of November and even into December. So I can come back if I want some more. So I thought I'd add some interest and do a bit of spinning now. Now this is just a very small spinner. It's just a 10-gram Dexter wedge, which should be ideal for garfish. And with a bit of luck, I might pick up something else on this. Could, you know, mackerel, or maybe could get lucky and pick up a bass. But what I'm going to find now is that I'm going to feel, because I know there's so many garfish in the water, I'm going to feel them pecking at this bait. But it's going to be very, very easy, very difficult compared to the float fishing to actually hook them. For reasons that we spoke of before. I may get lucky and hook one, and of course if it's reasonable size, I'll take it. So yeah, I thought we'll have some fun now and do a bit of spinning. Well, straight away I'm feeling the little tugs of the garfish. There's so many in the water, but hooking them this way is another matter. Now there's a case there. I felt a good tug from the garfish and thought I'd got it on, but I hadn't. Just hasn't got those hooks beyond that beak and into its mouth. And again there. So they're following it right in. Well, just had a tug from the garfish then. I've had what, a dozen casts spinning. I'm getting tugs from them every single time. But hooking them is another matter. So if I was to say, if it was float fishing versus spinning, float fishing wins hands down if you want to catch garfish. Well, hey, at last we've got one on the spinner. Well, there you go. That garfish was not actually hooked. What it had done, it had pecked at the hit the spinner, and then thought he got it span, and the line was wrapped round it, so it wasn't hooked at all. Well, I had about 20 casts with the spinner. Remember, that's just a tiny little 10-gram Dexter wedge with small hook. And although I was feeling the garfish hit the spinner all the way in, right to the edge, almost managed to hook one, but never managed to hook one. So what I've gone back to the float, and what we're going to do, we're going to float spin, just as a comparison, and try and sort of confirm how garfish feed, how they hit the bait. So we're going to cast this out, very, very slowly, reel this little piece of mackerel in, wait till I feel the garfish hit it, which in the garfish mind will think it's hit it and stunned it, stop, and then just leave it to give the garfish a chance to get that bait into its mouth and get hooked. Right, so we're just going to very, very slowly retrieve that little bit of mackerel in until I feel the knock of the garfish. Right, garfish has hit it now. So we just stop. Give it a chance to get it in its mouth. And then, with a bit of luck, we'll hook it. Yep, there it goes. And we're in. That's just basically to sort of show you, those of you who have never fished for garfish before or don't, on how they actually feed. Hitting that what they think is a bait, just to stun it, and then take it into their mouth. Well, that was a huge amount of fun. A great way to spend a late autumn afternoon and into the early evening on such a fantastic, beautiful day. And whether you like garfish or not, one thing's for sure, they do provide some fantastic sport. And float fishing is a fantastic and very productive way to catch them. Either whether just letting that float drift along and get them that way, or if they're a bit reluctant to take, just do a bit of float spinning, draw the little bit of bait in till you feel that tug of the garfish, then stop and give it a chance to get it into its mouth and get hooked. So we get these home. None of these will be wasted. They'll all be enjoyed. Some over the next couple of days, and the others frozen down to be eaten at a later date. So once again, I hope you found that useful, and many thanks for watching.